Have you ever felt like you just don't fit in? Like you're a little bit different from everyone else? If so, then you're going to love the story we're sharing today. It's a timeless classic that has touched hearts for generations. A tale about finding your true self and the beauty that lies within. Get ready to journey with us as we rediscover the story of the Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time, nestled in a cozy, sun-dappled corner of a farm, a mother duck sat patiently on her nest. One by one, her eggs began to crack, and out popped fluffy, yellow ducklings, peeping and chirping with glee. But one egg, the largest of the clutch, remained still. The mother duck waited, a little worried, until finally, it too began to break open. Out tumbled a chick, but he was not like the others. He was larger, his feathers were a dusky gray, and he moved with a clumsy, awkward wobble. The other ducklings pointed their beaks and quacked. "He's so strange. He's not one of us." From that very first day, life was hard for the little gray duckling. The other ducks in the pond would nip at him, the chickens would peck him, and even the farm girl who fed them would shoo him away. The cruelest taunts came from his own siblings. "Look at the ugly duckling," they'd sneer. "You're so big and clumsy." Every day, he heard the same hurtful words, and they began to chip away at his spirit. He tried his best to be friendly, to swim gracefully, and to quack softly, but it was no use. No matter what he did, he was always the odd one out, the one who didn't belong. The loneliness was a heavy weight on his small wings. He would hide in the reeds, watching the other animals play together, a deep ache in his heart. He felt so unwanted, so utterly alone. He looked at his own reflection in the water and saw a strange, gangly bird staring back. "They're right," he thought sadly. "I really am ugly." One morning, the sadness became too much to bear. He decided he couldn't stay where he wasn't wanted. With a heavy heart, he said a silent goodbye to the farm he once called home and set off on his own, hoping to find a place, any place, where he could finally belong. His journey was filled with hardship. He wandered through fields and marshes, meeting other animals, but the story was always the same. The wild ducks saw his unusual appearance and told him to move along. A flock of geese briefly took him in, but they soon flew south, leaving him alone once more. As autumn leaves turned to gold and then fell from the trees, the air grew colder. Winter arrived with a biting wind and a blanket of snow. The poor duckling shivered, his little body struggling against the frost. He had to search desperately for food, finding only a few frozen berries and roots to sustain him. He often had to break the ice on frozen ponds just to have a place to swim and rest. It was a lonely, grueling time. There were many moments when he felt like giving up, when the cold and hunger seemed unbearable. But deep inside him, a tiny spark of hope flickered. He didn't know why, but he felt he had to keep going. He had to survive. One evening, just as the sun was setting, he saw something breathtaking. A flock of magnificent birds soared across the sky. They had long, elegant necks, pure white feathers, and they moved with a grace he had never seen before. "Swans," he whispered to himself, filled with awe. He watched them until they were just tiny specks in the distance. He felt a strange pull towards them, a sense of admiration and longing. "If only I could be as beautiful as them," he thought, "but I'm just an ugly duckling." Throughout the long winter, the memory of those graceful swans kept his hope alive. He dreamed of flying with them, of being part of something so beautiful. As the ice began to melt and the first green shoots of spring pushed through the soil, something magical began to happen. The duckling noticed he was changing. He felt stronger. His wings were broader, and his feathers felt different. He had grown so much over the winter that he hardly recognized himself. He still felt shy and awkward, carrying the weight of the name he'd been called his whole life. He avoided his reflection, afraid to see the same ugly birds staring back. But he couldn't deny the new power he felt in his wings, the new length in his neck. A change was happening, both inside and out. He was no longer the small, clumsy chick that had left the farm. He was something more. One sunny spring morning, he found himself by a quiet, clear lake in a beautiful garden. As he glided onto the water, he saw 3 of the magnificent white swans he had admired from afar. His heart pounded. He wanted to swim closer, but he was afraid. He remembered all the teasing and rejection. He bowed his head in shame, expecting them to chase him away just like everyone else. But as he lowered his head, he saw his own reflection in the crystal-clear water. He gasped. Staring back at him was not a clumsy, gray duckling. Instead, he saw a stunning bird with a long, graceful neck and brilliant white feathers. He was one of them. He was a swan. At that moment, the other swans swam towards him, not with scorn, but with kindness. They circled him, gently touching his feathers with their beaks in a gesture of welcome. He wasn't ugly. He had never been an ugly duckling at all. He had simply been a young swan, different from the ducks, but perfect in his own way. The children playing in the garden pointed and shouted with delight. "Look, there's a new swan. He's the most beautiful one of all." Hearing those words, his heart swelled with a joy he had never known. The same animals who had once mocked him now looked at him with admiration. He spread his magnificent wings, feeling their strength, and rose into the air, flying alongside his new family. He had finally found where he belonged. He had finally found himself. The story of the ugly duckling is so much more than a simple fairy tale. It's a powerful reminder to never, ever judge someone based on how they look. True beauty isn't about having the right color feathers or fitting in with the crowd. It comes from the strength you find inside, the kindness you show to others, and the patience you have with your own journey. The little swan's path was difficult, but his resilience and inner hope allowed him to grow into the magnificent creature he was always meant to be. This story teaches us that everyone has their own timeline for growth, their own moment to shine. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but if you hold on to faith and believe in yourself, your time will come. This timeless tale is so important for all of us, especially for kids. It encourages self-confidence and shows that being different is not a bad thing. It's actually what makes you unique and special. It teaches us to be more empathetic, to be tolerant and understanding of those who may not look or act the same way we do. Think about the animals on the farm. If they had shown just a little bit of kindness, the duckling's journey wouldn't have been so lonely. This story is a beautiful lesson in compassion. It inspires us all to embrace change in our own lives, to trust the process of growing up, and to believe in the incredible potential that lies within each and every one of us. You are not an ugly duckling. You are a swan in the making, just waiting for the right moment to spread your wings and fly. So what did you think of this beautiful story? It always gets me right in the heart. It reminds me that we all have our own struggles, but it's how we grow through them that truly defines us. Thank you so much for joining me today to explore this wonderful classic. If this story touched you, please give this video a thumbs up. And do you forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, remember to be kind and believe in yourself. Bye for now.